Hello and welcome to Joe Small Talk, my favorite podcast in the world.
Hello and welcome to Joe Small Talk. Hello and welcome to Joe Small Talk. It's been a long time. It's actually been about 4.5 weeks since our last extravaganza podcast with Josh, the cell phone expert or cell phone etiquette expert. And we have a new guest with us today. The topic is, hold your horses. You're already chomping at the bit to say your name, but I haven't.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can just say your name.
Yeah, my name is Jeff.
Jeff.
And I apparently am an expert on social etiquette, a wide-ranging topic that covers almost everything except cell phone etiquette.
I guess you could put it like that, but you know, social etiquette, it's really a very specific field. You know, it's not just you're walking in the street and you see somebody in front of you and you're debating whether you can go around them and if there's enough room, etc.
Is that not social etiquette?
That's
I
not
think
etiquette.
that's social etiquette.
That's social decision making. Etiquette is a whole other kind of.
It's how you go around them.
It's how you go about it, and the calculating and the machinations in your head that take place, and whether or not something is okay. A lot of awkwardness involved, if you could believe that, coming from me.
I don't spend a lot of time inside of your head, but I imagine that it's a treacherous place.
I wouldn't say treacherous. Active is the better word. It's an active place.
Yeah,
it's never really
it's
sleeping.
active. Yeah, that's right.
Even a benevolent hello from me involved a complex algorithm of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listeners at home, you should know that I, Jeff, have spent a great deal of time with Joe here analyzing text messages that he had to send and things of this sort. And so while I may be a social etiquette expert, I'm really a Joe social etiquette expert, I think, personally.
Yeah, you could say my real name, Shlomo. Joe is more of a, what's the word? Not a nickname, but
Pseudonym?
I suppose. Stage name. It's my stage name, Joe Small Talk.
Okay.
Because, you know, I'm the American Joe who's making small talk with everyone.
Oh, I understood it.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I thought maybe
I got the thing.
I thought maybe the drink in your hand was getting into your head.
You know, I woulda.
Because you do have an alcoholic drink there. I want to
make you
out.
aware of something.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shlomo.
Sure.
You know, there are some people out there in the wider world that I happen to know and that are big fans of yours, and they refer to you as Small Joe.
Do they?
Yes, which is ironic because of
Very
your
ironic.
size, you know,
Yes.
as a person.
Yeah, for my listeners who don't know, I'm a rather tall person.
Very tall. Yeah.
Also, big shoes. But apparently some people call me Small Joe. Too bad for them. Boy, are they wrong. All right, let's get to... I have some
Let's
topics.
get to the notebook.
Well, the Notebook, yeah. Unlike the movie.
Are we in the question section or the riff section?
You know, the riff section is not for you to see. Riff is a thing which, you know, it's a natural thing. There's no riffs written down there, and they may have been cues for me to look at here every so often.
Okay,
But
let's
I'd
pretend
rather-
there's nothing written down under the
I'd
riff
rather you
section.
not even look at those.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
Okay.
I looked before. But
I want to get into a topic which happens to me quite a bit. When you're in the supermarket really is a maze of sorts, built towards assisting the mind of a woman, let's say. Now, I don't mean to be sexist, but mothers in particular...
Well, no one means to be sexist, but
Right.
sometimes they are.
That's true, okay.
This may be one of those times.
Maybe.
But you continue your story.
And I'll continue anyway. Mothers are particularly skilled in navigating the supermarket and all of its locations, whatever. You know what I'm getting at. Anyways,
Aisles.
aisles, yeah. Product locations, filling up the cart, what to put where, etc. There's two things that happen to me in supermarkets. The first one is really, when I look for an item, you know, supermarket employees are not running around per se. A lot of times there's the clerks, and then there's another person behind the counter, there's the butcher, and maybe there's like one person who's kind of stocking things and walking around with a price checker. And it's very hard to kind of spot that person and flag them down. Now, if I'm looking for a very particular item, not something which is obvious like bread or chicken or whatever. Let's say I'm
No,
looking
you want the white box mac and cheese, not the red box.
Yeah, or gluten-free something. I don't know what really gluten-free is. Everyone's doing gluten-free now. But anyways, if I'm looking for something particular like that, I don't know where it is, and I can't find the guy who's stocking the items or who is wearing one of those shirts that implies that he works there. Also, by the way, if you ever wear a red shirt in a pharmacy, you're going to be stopped for items. And that I've stopped people at the red shorts, and they look at me like I'm crazy. Anyways, I digress. I once went up to a woman, and I said, excuse me, do you know where this item is, whatever it was? And she looked at me cross, and she said, I don't work here. And she walked away, flustered and blustery. And I said, what's the problem? Your cart is full. And that was the end of the interaction, the social interaction.
Yeah.
Am I wrong for, I didn't accost her, but am I wrong for approaching a woman, a mother, who obviously knows where everything is? I mean, her cart is filled to the brim. And I'm asking her, excuse me, can I have some help?
So let me get this straight. You're asking someone that is on her free time.
Yes.
That is not being paid by the supermarkets, and rather than ask one of the employees of the supermarkets,
not to be found,
the people who are being paid to help you, you've chosen to ask a woman who is running around her child. You don't know that. You're just assuming because she's a female.
That's her resume. Her full cart is her supermarket CV. She knows where everything is.
Why? Because, you know how easy it is to fill a cart with stuff?
Look, it's
also,
not
I have a second point. My second point is that the supermarket is an incredibly easy place to locate items. It's got big signs with labels saying what's in each aisle.
There's no gluten-free sign or popsicle sign.
I think there probably is a gluten-free
I don't eat
sign.
gluten-free, but you know there are items which are not on the sign.
You don't want to, man. That's a whole other
will you
layer
agree
of
Will you agree that there are items that are not on the sign?
No, the signs have categories. They don't have items.
Okay.
The categories fit within the items.
And are there some items which can belong
for instance,
in 2 or 3 categories?
You want Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
And, it's not going to say Cocoa Puffs. I grant you that.
Okay.
But rather than ask a random mother wandering around the supermarket, you could look up and see the cereal. And then you could follow that to the Cocoa Puffs.
So Cocoa Puffs is in cereal. Can I write that down? Can we pause this for a second?
I wouldn't ordinarily suggest it, but I think maybe you should.
Okay. Would you agree that there are some items
concern.
could be in the family of 2 categories, possibly? 2 families?
Maybe, but
likely.
Because there's only so many aisles, it doesn't take you very long to find out. But
let me ask you something. Okay, so you're not arguing about my tactic. You're arguing about my intelligence.
No, I also think you should be pestering the people who are paid to help you, rather than the people who are on their free time.
So what you're saying is that the equivalent of what you're saying is that if I'm walking the street, I can't ask a passerby.
There's no one in the street that's paid to help you.
Policemen. There's a lot of policemen.
Policemen are not paid to give you directions.
The stocking boy is not paid to tell me where it is. He's paid to stock.
If you were on the street and someone stole your purse, would you run up to a random person,
I'd say
a father, for instance, and say,
yes.
"Excuse me, sir, someone stole my purse. Please chase after them."
If I'm running it,
rather than the police officer who is paid to help you.
If he's near the robber, I'll tell him to get him. You're all wrong here. You don't know anything.
I am the social etiquette expert. How could I be wrong? In fact, you knighted me with that title.
I didn't say.
There's no going back now.
I don't think I formally called you a social etiquette expert.
I already made the business cards. There's no going back, Shlomo. I like it. Social etiquette expert. I'm going to keep it.
You're upsetting Joe Smalltalk, I have to say. Well done. Okay. Let's get a little more specific in terms of the etiquette nature of the supermarket.
I really think we should.
When you are at the clerk and you have your items, okay, let's say 10 items or less, you have 9. You could even have 11. Most people don't. Well, people know that. I guess you could have a little more than 10 for the 10 items or less because the clerks don't usually count. And especially when they count, it's like 10, 11, 12, 13. They're not going to...
They've already scanned your stuff.
You've already screwed them. So you pay for the items, etc. You maybe make a wee bit of small talk with the clerk. And then, depending on the supermarket, there is a bagging clerk. Sometimes. Depends on the aisle, depends on the time of the day, etc. And everyone has their own techniques. For instance, eggs. Some people want to have eggs in their own bag to protect the eggs. Eggs are holy. My mother always told me, protect the eggs.
Did she?
Not in those words, but
yeah.
There's different elements to bagging. There have been times where the bagging clerk will do something which irks me, and it puts me in a quandary because, let's be honest, a bagging clerk, it's not the best job in the world, and obviously, this person is trying to move on to bigger, better things, but they're not enjoying it probably, right? And here I am looking at them, with a kind of a, what's the word? The eyes.
Right?
Not a glare. I'm watching them. And the guy puts in the bag of chips and then he puts a melon on top of that. That's not exactly the best technique. Can you tell the bagging clerk, excuse me, that's not going the right way? Or obviously you probably won't do that, but can you, let's say, in front of him, remove the item that he put in and put it in another bag because you don't want it to crush a certain item or etc. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I personally really don't care. So I about the general bagging, not about your question.
Okay. Good.
So I really wouldn't do anything about it. But if you were feeling especially anal, you could certainly say something. I don't think that he holds his job and his performance in such high regard that he would be terribly insulted.
He wouldn't be insulted, but he'd be
like if you were a great painter and you painted a painting and someone said, "I think you should, move the cow a little to the left and add some blue." Like I don't think it's like that. I don't think he'd really care. I think you can ask him to put it in a different bag.
He might just be like, "Are you kidding me? Like this is."
Has that ever happened to you? I don't think that would ever happen.
I've never said anything to a bag clerk.
You've never done this?
I stick my tail in my behind and I move along because I don't want to insult them. I'm very particular about not insulting people who don't want to be insulted.
Who wants to be insulted?
Well, certain.
Like a shock jock.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really think about that much. But, okay. Enough about supermarkets. I can talk about supermarkets all day. You have no idea.
Oh, me too.
I once wrote a book about supermarkets.
I don't believe that.
I wrote a portion of a book about supermarkets.
I'm still skeptical.
Don't you have to? Okay. You have a few other topics you want
Ask
to
me
cover.
what about the doorman?
The doorman. We'll get to that later. That's not an urgent. That's not an important. That doesn't relate to the common man.
All right.
Okay. Checking out girls in public, ogling them, gawking at them. Now let's get to what the real issue is. The girl's right. She's in her room. She's getting dressed. She has to go make a run to the post office. She's going to be walking outside for 5-6 minutes. It's very sunny, hot outside. It's let's say 4 p.m. A lot of people around. She puts on an outfit which accentuates her curves.
Post office outfit. A curvy post office outfit, sure.
She's got a curvy outfit on.
I mean, let's be honest, we all do.
Anyways, she puts on the outfit. She knows she's showing some skin. Okay, any normal person is going to look at her and, take a gander. At what point is too much? The girl who puts on the outfit, also who's at fault? At what point is too much and who's at fault? The girl's putting on a suggestive outfit of sorts, licentious if you will, and she's walking, I didn't prepare that
word.
Word
of the day.
Ding. That's an SAT word. And then here comes me, Joe Small Talk, my jaw falls open.
Could you define licentious? I'm really not sure. Does she have lice? Is it related?
Not related to lice.
I'm not sure what it means.
I think licentious means sexual in a dirty way, if I remember.
Sexual in a dirty way. So it means like kinky.
Not kinky, no.
Keep in mind that listeners at home will be looking this up while we're talking.
Doesn't mean kinky. It means bacchanalian.
It means what?
Bacchanalian.
Bacchanalian?
Yeah. Know that word? B-A-C-H. Okay, you know it. I'm just trying to impress you. I'm also an expert of sorts.
All right.
I'm the big word. Okay, so
your question is how long is too long and who's at fault?
Look, recently, I'll just tell you what happened. I was kind of gawking at a girl.
You were staring at a woman, and shock, she looked back.
She looked at me and she glared at me, and I looked at her like with a face like, "What are you glaring at me for?
And
Look at your outfit."
Did you?
No,
wink?
I didn't wink.
Yeah,
I should have winked.
Yeah.
But I kind of I gave her. I can't show my listeners what face I'm making, but I gave her a look back to her glare, saying,
"It's a hell of a look," if you're wondering.
Yeah. What's the issue? I mean, I'm not at fault. If you're choosing to wear an outfit, I'm going to look at you.
Well, okay. Look, I'm not personally a woman.
Really?
I know several though, and from what I understand, women like to be gawked at as well as if you say suggestive things in the streets.
Honk the horn, you mean? If you're driving a truck?
Yeah, things like that. Women feel complimented.
Are you being serious?
It's a good way to get a date.
I think you're mocking me a little bit.
No, slow-mo.
If you're driving a car and you see a girl, what do you do?
Well, is she close enough that I could yell something to her?
You can yell.
Or am I forced to use the horn? Which is a bad backup.
You can yell, but there's people honking you and you can't stop. You can slow down, but you can't.
Okay, well, obviously I would yell something short and romantic and mildly obscene, because that's what, from what I understand, what the women are looking for
you're not
when they wear their curvy post office outfit.
You're not giving me an honest answer. You know why? Because you ogle girls and you've probably been caught in slap. That's why.
I have ogle girls.
You're an ogler.
And I have been slapped, but I think they're unrelated. I don't think I've been slapped for ogling. And look, Shlomo, if you want to ogle, and that's like if that's your reason for being out at 4 a.m., standing awkwardly by the post office, then
PM. This is PM. Nobody's going to the post office at 4 a.m.
I'm sorry, did I say a.m.?
Yeah.
4 p.m. Then you should wear sunglasses, because when you wear sunglasses, you can ogle whoever you want.
Sort of, a little
But
bit.
if you don't wear sunglasses, then you have a limit.
I'm not a sunglasses guy.
Then it's a glance and glance away kind of thing.
I'll tell you, I came up with a technique that I...
And you can ogle, but it has to be eye contact ogling.
Or how about you say hello, this way forcing them to look at you, and then you get even more time to stare at them.
Well, that's a weird strategy, but...
I haven't done it.
It doesn't sound like that, but okay.
I once got rebuked by a previous ex-girlfriend of mine a few years ago because I explained to her my ogling technique.
Really?
Yeah.
What is your ogling technique? You mean saying hello and they turn to you?
No, like I was saying how I could walk with her and check out a girl at the same time and she would never know. And I realized after that it was a silly thing to explain.
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
I was basically saying if we're walking and I'm walking on the side of the street and she's walking to the right of me and I see a girl to the right of her coming towards us, I'll first...
Oh, it's like you're looking at her, but you're really looking past
first I look
her?
behind her as if like I saw something, and then but I look quickly, and then as I turn back, I slowly turn back and I look at her. If she looks at me, it's okay, and then I slowly have that kind of 90 degrees of vision where I could ogle the girls coming towards.
Well, frankly, the slow head turn is a classic move in ogling, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got out of it because I came up with this thing where I had a coupon. It's called the Forget What I Said coupon.
Oh, really?
And,
you did that?
I got one of those.
Someone didn't have money around Christmas?
No, like it was just a thing. Like I earned it or whatever. I said, "Give me one coupon and forget what I said." And she said, "Okay, fine."
How'd you earn it?
I don't remember, but if you do a good deed or whatever, you could say, "What do I need to do to get a?" Or you can trade. A girl gets two, a guy gets one, because guys say a lot more stupid things.
So then the guy should get two, the girl should get one.
No, but the guys' things are so severe that you can't just get out of jail every time. And I used forget what I said coupon that time. So the rebuke was short-lived. Yeah, amazingly.
Well, you know what? Frankly, I appreciate the honesty. I think that if I were dating someone,
It's too lurid, though.
it's a little lurid, but
A little disrespectful as well.
everybody does it though. Well, I don't know if women actually ogle men. I think women more commonly ogle other women, but
that's accepted.
yeah, that's more accepted. Yeah.
Okay. Next on the list.
Yeah. Shoot.
I just want to point out to my listeners that Jeff, the social etiquette expert, has just finished his drink, his beverage.
Listen.
And now I'm nervous. What is he going to take here with? Are you going to take your keys out and start jingling them? Like you did before? No?
I don't know. Maybe I did that. I could jiggle my keys if you like. That really sounds like innuendo for something.
Is this an awkward moment we're having live on the podcast? I don't feel awkward.
Is that a social etiquette question? Like, what's an awkward moment? And is this
No,
one?
you don't need to tell me what's awkward. I am the awkward mathematician.
Oh, that's your expertise? If I were interviewing you, it would be on awkwardness?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I spend my entire day thinking of any possible awkward element which could come into play.
Well, then you should know, awkwardness expert, that when you point out the awkwardness, it only makes the situation more awkward.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep that in mind in the future.
And I relish it. That's why when I'm in an elevator sometimes with strangers and it's awkward, I'll say, "Wow, this is pretty awkward." And then
then you just soak it in.
And then it just
I kind of like that. I know what you're. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's kind of nice.
It becomes brutally awkward.
Yeah, it's really.
And I'm prepared for it.
It's entertaining. I like that.
Yeah. Everybody else is kind of caught off guard, and I'm there smirking like an idiot.
Yeah, well, it's like normal.
Yeah. Sniffing or smelling fingers or hands in public. Now.
Of other people's?
No. Your own hands and fingers. Now, I recently.
For a second, I thought this was like a dog-human question. But
no, this is a real thing. It's known that you can't sniff your fingers in public for whatever reason.
What? It's known?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
If you're on the subway or on a bus or whatever, you can't sniff one or two of your fingers.
What website did you get these
this
questions
This is a website.
from?
No, this is just what I've seen throughout my life.
Okay.
You can't do that.
You're right. Anytime you sniff one of your fingers, I guess it looks a little weird.
You agree?
I thought it was common sense, yes.
Right. I'm building up to something,
okay.
obviously.
All right.
Right? I mean, okay. So you shouldn't go around sniffing your fingers for whatever reason. We don't need to get into it. You do the math.
Or
figure it
other
out.
people's.
Yeah. Sniffing, smelling fingers. Now hands is where it gets maybe a tad more socially acceptable because let's say you
I think
just.
it's totally acceptable if you smell your palm.
No, I'm not talking about palm. Actually, yeah. Okay, if you smell your palm, it doesn't look. It looks a little bit, you know. It's noticeable. Okay, that guy's smelling his palm. I'll notice it.
But that's how people smell perfume or something, because it's on your wrist.
Right, right. Now, what about when you have a Band-Aid on a finger?
Okay.
The Band-Aid smells pretty bad, if you ever notice, after like a day or two.
I haven't really noticed, but all right.
And I don't know, sometimes I smell the Band-Aid, because maybe I'm crazy. And I don't even know where I'm going with this. But
Well, I would recommend that you smell your Band-Aid finger in private.
Right.
Because, you're not in public all the time. Why don't you wait until you take your bathroom break, and then you smell your Band-Aid finger?
In the stall, I should smell it.
Yeah, when everyone does all their weird stuff.
So you want me to
Do
go
it in the stall.
You want me to go into the stall and sniff my fingers? That is a pretty disgusting thing.
Is that really what I recommended?
You just said that. You said go into the stall and sniff your finger.
If you feel the need to sniff your finger, you should most certainly do it in private. And anything that weird or weirder should all be done in your bathroom break.
In the stall. Locked stall.
Yeah, I find unlocked stalls weird also. That's a social etiquette
Well,
thing.
if you're just peeing, you don't need to lock the stall. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, either way. No, it's when you
What
go
are
to
you doing in the
houses
stall?
that have bathrooms that don't have locks. That's what
Okay.
I'm talking about.
It's a house. Everyone knows if the door's locked.
No, not everyone knows. A lot of people in a house.
If the door's closed.
It makes for awkward situations.
Did you walk in on somebody recently?
No.
It's happened to me.
Yeah, it's happened to me too.
Yeah.
But,
Do you like it?
No. Can't say I do.
All right, that makes one of us.
Apparently, yeah.
It depends on the situation.
Well, this is good to know. It's the last time I used the bathroom at Shlomo's house.
You used it before, and I actually looked
Did you?
from afar. I just wanted to know what you're doing.
I think I would have heard the door open.
I didn't open the door. I just whatever. I don't want to talk about this anymore because we will have a bathroom etiquette.
Do you have a
episode.
weird way to look into your bathroom that no one knows about?
There's a window on top. You can see somebody's head.
Oh, that's creepy.
If you can see the head, you know they're peeing. If not, you know.
And where's the video camera?
That was a joke. Big funny joke. Okay. So you recommend smelling the Band-Aid finger in the stall?
I recommend not smelling the Band-Aid. If you feel the need,
You know,
do
it just
do
so
it in
happens
private.
that I have a Band-Aid on my finger.
I noticed that.
I will allow you to smell it.
I don't want to smell your Band-Aid.
Doesn't smell it. This is a new Band-Aid, freshly applied a few hours ago, so it hasn't reached the smelling stage yet.
I don't see how those Band-Aids can't really smell anyway. You
Believe
need
me.
like the big wound,
No, no.
gash kind of thing.
I
to
had one
smell.
today. It stunk.
Really?
The whole time at my desk at work, I
I
just
don't think
kept
I've ever
sniffing it.
noticed like when a little Band-Aid like that.
Because you don't sniff it. You need to sniff your Band-Aids more.
I had like a 3rd-degree burn once on my ankle, and it was all wrapped in gauze like for months, and that thing that could smell. But
Jeff, that's a pretty boring example, I have to say. Leave it to the small talk expert, huh?
yeah, okay.
Speaking of walking around and sniffing your fingers, can you, when you walk by strangers in the street, and you
Okay,
hear
that could have gone a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're staying on the street. Go ahead.
and you hear a snippet of a conversation between two people who you don't know in the
Yeah.
street, and let's say it relates not to you per se, but you feel that you could really provide something very informative that you're sure that they would want to hear. Can
Yeah.
you interject and say, "Excuse me, sir, but I noticed you were just talking about"?
You can't. No.
You can't.
Nope. I mean, unless
Too bad, right?
there's only one exception, which is if they're tourists wandering
Right.
around in circles,
Tourists.
and they're like, "Where is this building?" And you're like, it's right over here. But if people are talking about,
What about the weather?
God,
what about the weather?
what I remember first base and I remember second base, but what is third base? You can't just like interject in that
No, that.
conversation.
Well, what if somebody's saying, "Oh, yeah, I don't think it's going to rain tonight," but you just saw on your weather app,
No,
it's
no,
supposed to rain.
definitely not.
It's supposed to rain,
No.
so you're going to
That's
let
that's
person-
what the word smartass is made for. It's for that kind of interaction. That person is a smartass.
Okay, how about this? Let's say it's an elderly couple, 80 plus, walking, and they said, "It's not supposed to rain tonight, so we won't take our umbrellas." And
No.
this is what you hear.
No,
You're
you
telling
don't,
me you
you
want to
don't
interject?
correct them. You know
That's-
why? You know why?
yeah.
Because when you interject in that, you're assuming that you know more than they do.
But you do know more than they do at that
No,
point.
maybe you don't. Maybe they checked the weather a minute ago and you checked it 10 minutes ago.
No.
You're assuming that your information is better, and that's kind of rude for strangers. I mean, for close friends like me and you, Shlomo, I would easily interject all the time. I would have no qualms about it. And in fact, I
No
probably
qualms?
do. No.
Not even a small qualm?
No. You know what qualm is?
I know what qualm is. I know what qualm is.
Okay.
I'm Mr. Licentious. How can I know what qualm is? I have no qualms about my vocabulary.
I noticed.
Ah.
Yeah,
How do you like that sentence usage?
your vocabulary
Mr.,
is perfunctory. I'll give you that.
Perfunctory? That's an insult.
No, it's not.
Perfunctory means robotic, machine-like.
No, it doesn't. It
What
means
does it mean?
adequate.
Okay. Let's not get too pretty here. I think it's between the two. Why don't you go sniff your fingers in my bathroom?
Okay then. I don't want to be videotaped.
You okay? Oh, okay.
This conversation has gone somewhere that I don't think Joe Smalltalk wanted to go.
Okay. Next topic. All right. This is a problem which not everyone has experienced, but let's say you happen to be staying in either a hotel or an apartment which has a doorman.
A hotel or an apartment.
Yeah.
So have you lived somewhere with a doorman?
I have.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah. Well, the question is obvious. The doorman is a human being, right?
If that's the question, then it's obvious. The answer is yes.
Okay, so doormen generally work 8 to 12-hour shifts, okay? And they just basically stand there, or they help people with the doors, etc., luggage.
I'm familiar.
But there's a lot of downtime as a doorman, depending on the shift. You're a tenant of the building, you walk in and out. There's two things that could happen. Either the doorman, well, you're going to have a hi, how are you, or a head nod or something, but the doorman might initiate more conversation, or you might feel compelled to, engage with this person who's probably bored with conversation. That's the scenario.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
The problem that you might have living in a building like this with the doorman is, you're in a hurry, you're walking, and the doorman says, "Hey, Jeff, how's it going?" And you don't even have a second to spare. What do you do?
Sure. Well, this is a very normal problem. I have a great deal of experience in this from my time living on the street right near a very expensive building that had a doorman. And I, as the homeless person, looking up at the fancy people, I would see this interaction a great deal. And actually, Shlomo, your question is part of a larger one, which is what you do when you're passing someone or you run into someone at the store and you're not fully friends with them, but you're not fully strangers.
Yeah.
This is all part of it, which is who do you stop and talk to? Who do you talk to but you just keep walking? Who do you only nod to and you don't really say anything?
I'll tell you why.
The doorman, you certainly say something.
Well, the doorman is different.
You can definitely say something and keep walking. You just have to be friendly about it.
Well, I'll tell you why I ask specifically about the doorman and not your everyday.
You have to say, "Hey, Jeeves, how's it going?"
No, Jeeves is a waiter. Or
Well, I don't really know. I didn't see that part from my place on the street, but it's a quick greeting, and it's a quick the Bulls sucked last night. You move on.
Sports. So
Something
you're
like
relegating the doorman knowledge to sports and probably weather, right? Seems like.
It doesn't have to be.
Why do you say sports?
It's every
How
once.
about politics?
No. Here's why.
Let's hear it.
Because every 50th time or something, you want to stop and chat. When you have time,
50th.
maybe 20th is better. I don't know, maybe less than that. At any time that you have time, when you're coming back from work and you have time to kill and you're in a good mood, then you stop and chat and you develop a repertoire about some subject that you're both interested in. And it could be sports or whatever. And then you comment on that on your way out in the morning. You don't stop, but you comment as you move.
I always feel like I'm kind of denigrating them in a sense to just one silly topic like sports, as if there's nothing else to talk about.
But it happens with everyone. Every people that you don't really know, you've talked about like one thing with them. That's what you fall back on.
I suppose, but see, the real issue with the doorman is that they know a lot that they can use against you per se. Let's say you're married and you come back.
Can you give an example from your life?
Well, I'd rather not, but from what I've heard, from what doormen have told me...
I'd prefer that you did.
Doormen who I've befriended have told me basically they know about the secrets of everybody in the building, and everybody's got secrets.
That's right. That's why you have to be friendly. I mean, you should also be friendly because they're, as you pointed out earlier, a human being.
They are human beings, and you know what? There are times when
Surprise!
There are times where you're going to be in a hurry and you won't have time to stop and chat, and they're going to want to stop and chat. And you know what? You stop and chat because they're the doorman, and they own the keys, literally the keys to your life. What do you think about that?
I think you misused literally slightly, and I think that
No, I didn't, because they have the keys.
not to your life.
Well, your life is a big part of life.
That's a metaphor.
A big part of your life is
Which
in the apartment.
not literal. Anyway.
There is a key, though. There's a key.
Yes, there's a key.
So it's a literal key.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Half of the sentence was correct. Now, yeah, they are in a position of power, but you should be friendly to people regardless. You should be friendly to your cab driver. Your cab driver could screw you over, or he could not. But regardless, you should be friendly to him. And if you approach your life this way, then you won't have to stress over who's important and who's not, and who can affect you and who can't.
I agree. But getting back to what you said before about when do you stop and say hello, I'll tell you something even more specific, which I find very tricky. People don't seem to, I don't know, be bothered by this, but this is one of the most uncomfortable things for me. If you're walking down the street, and the street is, let's say, I don't know, a block or two blocks long, and you see somebody who you know coming towards you, right? And they see you, and you make eye contact, let's say about 200 feet away. You can't say hello yet. It's very tricky.
That's right.
You can maybe kind of raise your eyebrows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could wave.
Right, but then after you do that eyebrow raising or wave, you still have another 150 feet to go.
Yeah.
And you're still walking towards each other, and then do you look down? Do you pull out your phone? Do you look at them? You look away? It's crazy.
It's even amplified when you're on one side of a filled street, a street with a lot of cars. If you're on one side and they're on the other side, and you're waiting for a light to change, it's even more amplified. You're like, hey, and then you stand there waiting.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
Look at your phone.
Well, you're standing there, so you could kind of look around. But with the walking, it's like the pressure is building. You're
not
walking.
going to stare at them. You acknowledge them, and then you can look around, and then you do something with them. But then there's another question, which is is it like a handshake or a hug or a kiss or what?
Well, for those of us who aren't socially awkward, well,
how would you know? Have you spoken to some recently?
I'll tell you.
Is your doorman not socially awkward?
I actually do botch this quite a few times.
I'm sure,
There are dates, especially with a date, the first time you greet somebody. You know, there are times where I went in for the kiss on the cheek, hello, just really to be friendly, and I've gotten kind of a stop. I'm like, what? What are you doing? I'm like, oh, just giving you a kiss to the cheek. That's happened.
Whatever. My theory is that you always go, if you're debating between two possible gestures, you go with the friendlier one. So if you're just the higher, the friendlier one. Yeah, if you're deciding whether it's a handshake or a hug situation, you go for the hug. If you're deciding hug or a kiss, you go for the kiss.
I've been
That's
rejected.
my system.
Have you ever?
It doesn't matter. You're the friendly one.
Or creepy, depending on how the girl looks at it.
If you're trying to actually kiss her, yeah.
I don't know. If you hug somebody who you don't deserve to hug yet, which is possible, right?
Yeah, I guess, but
I've had that before.
It's not like if that's happened to you, are you insulted? No, you don't care. You think this person's friendly.
Right.
That's the end of it.
And in terms of
or knowing the way that you, Joe Smalltalk, overthink things somewhat, it might be she hugged me, she's into me, but
you see, overthinking is really the minimum way of thinking. Everybody else is underthinking.
I don't think so.
Everybody underthinks. I think adequately. I'm a perfunctory
Really?
thinker, if you want to put it that way. Even though that's the wrong usage, I just use it to.
Do you think that you're
I'm the adequate thinker.
you've put the right amount of thought into the doorman interaction? Say
Not enough thought. I wish I could think about this all day. Everybody else is not thinking.
Well, you
enough.
probably do. I mean,
A little
realistically. I hope your employers are not listening.
I hope so too.
The reality is, yeah.
When do you think I came up with these topics?
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, without the cell phone, harking back. Is it harking or hearkening? I always confuse the two. Like the harken back?
You know, I don't know.
But you know what
I know what you're trying
it's
to
one
say.
of those two,
but,
yeah.
no.
Harking back.
I think hearkening.
Hearkening? You reckon?
Yeah, I do reckon.
You reckon? Okay. Hearkening. Hearkening back to the cell phone etiquette aspect. You know, the cell phone can really be your best friend. And in that situation where I described, where you see a friend from 150 feet away, but they're not a close friend, but they're close enough where you'll stop and say hello, how are you, maybe another sentence or two. You basically pull out the cell phone and you kind of tap the screen a few times.
Yeah, you can. The cell phone is always
It's a crutch.
It's too easy of a crutch. I in fact have made a rule about not using it in situations like that anymore. When I'm at a bar and I'm waiting for someone to meet me, I don't pull out my cell phone anymore.
Well, you have a beer.
I have a beer, but I don't pull out the cell phone.
Well, we're all very proud of you, Jeff, social expert.
You know what?
It would make sense.
Screw you, Joe. You should be proud of me. You try. Go sit at a bar for 20 minutes without looking at your cell phone.
You know, I've done that. Sitting in the bar and waiting for the friend, it's actually kind of a very trying time because...
It is, but it's also a good opportunity to make friends.
It is, but you know, unless you're mingling with people, you look like a loser because you're sitting there by yourself. And
that's right. You got to suck that up.
So there's two ways to fix that.
Looking at your phone doesn't make you less of a loser, though.
Yes and no. Well, I'll tell you, the easiest thing you could do is you could buy 2 drinks. You put one for you and one for your friend.
Sure, or you could look at your phone and make that exaggerated, like, annoyed face. Like, where is he? Where is she?
Yeah, the annoyed face. That's a little bit it's a little too obvious. I'll agree with that. Yeah. Or you could just kind of sit there oblivious, look at your watch a lot, no annoyed face.
Or not look at your watch. This is what I'm suggesting.
But you do want to look at your watch, though. You do want to see how late your friend is. I waited for you on occasion. You've been late, and no,
I'm rarely late.
Well,
but okay, today I was late, but in general, I'm rarely late. Oh, also at your last dinner. Yeah, okay, I'm late sometimes. Anyway, no, I don't think that you have to look at your watch all the time. If you look once every 10 minutes, whatever, that's fine. But it's the people that are always looking at their phone. Like, this is the common reaction now. You get to a bar, you're sitting there alone, you stare at your phone, you play Angry Birds.
You whip it right out.
You chat on Facebook, It's a mistake.
Chatting on Facebook in a bar. That's
it's no good. Yeah.
It's a no-go, huh?
Yeah.
Yet people do it.
It used to be that if you're showing up half an hour early at the gym and it's not open yet, and there are like 6 other people there all doing the same thing, then you would chat with them. But now you look at your phones, and I don't like it, so I force the conversation.
So if you see someone on their phone, you're going to start talking to them?
Often, yeah.
Often?
Yeah.
And do you often succeed?
In talking to them? Yes.
In receiving a response with a smile?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't like it if some freak started talking to me and I'm in my phone.
Alright.
I'm not calling you a freak.
There goes my self-esteem on this interview.
It's not that you're the freak, but it's the person...
It sounded like I was the freak.
The person who's accosting me in my personal space.
What personal space? I'm sitting on the other end of the bar,
Yeah, well, no. If somebody's alone at a bar, I guess you could approach them, but... I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. The point
What
is...
is the social etiquette on correcting someone's grammar?
It depends how close you are with them.
Yeah. Say we're close enough, I can correct your grammar?
Absolutely.
I think so, yeah.
It's a great dig, though, to correct somebody's grammar, especially when you're having an argument and they say...
It is. Oh, it's a great dig, yeah.
Yeah. Don't you mean that word? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's why arguing in sign language is great, because...
Yeah, I've often felt that,
Yeah, that's why I learned sign language.
You don't have sign language.
I know. I could say...
Prove it to the listeners right now.
I know a few signs.
Show them.
Hello? I can say the hello.
He just did it. It's true. It's incredible.
Yeah, well...
You know what I learned recently? The signs for different ethnic groups are incredibly racist.
Like who?
Like the sign for a Chinese person is actually this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pulling my eye to the side.
Well,
the signs there are signs for Jewish people that are there's like 3 of them, and one of them is this. It's making a big nose to your face.
Look, sign
one
language.
Of them is the Haredi beard, and there's a third even worse one. What was that? Oh, it's like this.
Oh, for
it's
Jews?
Like the cheap side. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the thing about sign language. You can't really get upset about the racist elements within sign language because they can't really speak. So, what are you going to start harassing them for their language?
So what? And why does that mean they get a free pass to be racist?
They do get a free pass. No, because it's not that they're being racist because they're bigots. It's because it's efficiency.
Yeah, okay. If it's the language they're using, but if they also happen to be racist, they don't get a free pass for that.
Well, yeah. If that's why it's a great way to be a closet racist, a sign language person.
Yes, to become
to all the racists out
become
there.
Deaf.
You don't have to become. You can pretend to become deaf and just do sign language, and I don't know. No good.
I think we've gone off on a stream here.
We have.
Ask me one of your riff questions.
These aren't riff questions. I prefer if you don't look at my riff questions.
I'm not looking at them. I just know that you have them.
A riff isn't a question. It's a riff. You like it's a kind of a topic. You just kind of.
Was racist deaf people a riff?
No, but I did want to. This is not related, but I did want to ask you if you take vitamins.
If I take vitamins, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No.
Yeah.
No,
You don't look like you take vitamins. I have to say.
No, my diet consists of 30% mac and cheese, 30% potato chips, and 40% crackers with cheese sticks that I rip apart into tinier pieces of cheese that then you can put on cheese and crackers because I come from the high society world.
And 90% chance of death. No.
From what?
From the 100% terrible diet that you're on.
Well, pretty much everyone has a strong chance of death at some point. I would say if everyone has 100 and I have 90, then great.
Always a stickler for words and numbers. You should take a vitamin with that terrible diet you have.
Do you take vitamins?
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I find them irrelevant.
Because you're eating mac and cheese all day. At that point, it doesn't matter.
Really, what does it matter? Do you think like
if you don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, you should have a vitamin.
you think when we were surviving as cavemen that we got all the vitamins that we got our B12
They had
as
fruits and
cavemen?
vegetables. Yeah. They ate red peppers.
Every day? Do you think they?
They had a lot. Depends on the crop.
They ate Flintstones vitamins. No, I really don't see the point of vitamins. If I went to a doctor and I was very sick, and the doctor said, you're very sick, you've just had a heart attack, I'd like you to take these vitamins now, then I probably would. But for right now,
so you can't even take vitamins because if you would take a vitamin, let me just explain what would happen, okay?
I'd love to hear. Yeah.
Okay, this is what's going to happen. You take a multivitamin.
Walk me through this process.
Okay, you put it in the palm of your hand. You don't sniff the palm because you're not a sniffer.
No, but I might sniff the pill, the vitamin.
That's fine. You shouldn't because a lot of them don't smell great. Anyways, you swallow the vitamin with water. The vitamin enters...
I don't swallow with water.
You do it without water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somehow I'm not surprised. Anyways, the vitamin enters your system, okay? As the multivitamin enters your system, he immediately sees a gang of mac and cheese and another gang of potato chips, and he says, "What the hell is going on here?"
He's overwhelmed.
He's overwhelmed, and they start looking at him like,
my regular diet beats him up.
The mac and cheese says, "Who the hell is this guy? Who invited you?" And they start circling him, and he gets terrified. He swims directly to your bowel area, and the next time that you pee or poop, he's out of there. He's gone. He's not going to leave a remnant of vitamin.
I feel like I've just watched an episode of The Magic School Bus.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. So
yeah.
For you, you're hopeless. You can't take vitamins. You should just, you either need to revamp. Well, we already established you have a pretty high chance.
Just die.
You will die, as will I. But,
probably.
But
there's a 9 out of 10 chance.
Yeah, so you're right. You shouldn't take any vitamins. There's no reason to. With that diet, the vitamin doesn't have a chance.
I think vitamins are largely irrelevant for everyone, but yes.
Right, yeah, when you're taking mac and cheese, absolutely. That vitamin has no hope.
But if you've got a good diet with, varied
No, I'll tell you.
foods, then you don't need them anyway. So
I eat mac and cheese, but mine is 10%. I eat potato chips, but it's 10%. I also have 10% cucumbers. I have 10%...
Cucumbers?
Yes,
really?
I eat a cucumber every morning.
I do not do that.
Yeah.
A cucumber in the morning?
Yeah.
Wow, that seems...
2 pieces of toast and a cucumber.
Unattractive to me.
Okay, well...
Why would you eat cucumbers in the morning?
Because my work has them.
I eat fruit in the morning because my work has them.
Fruit are too complicated for me. An orange, peeling it, I can't take it. I have no patience. Cucumber, you just chomp on it right away. You don't even need to peel it.
How about an apple?
Yeah, the apple has the pit. Cucumber, you eat the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste very good.
Well,
that should be a concern.
Anyways, the vitamin that I take, he gets welcome. They give him, they give him a lemonade.
Do you take the vitamin for the sunlight? What is that, vitamin D?
No, I don't take that. I mean, I have a multivitamin, so it might be included.
Because you can't tell this at home, listeners, but I'm looking at Joe Smalltalk
Look
right
away.
now, and I think maybe you could use some more sun and some sun vitamin.
There's no sun vitamin. You don't know anything.
One of them is for sun. You get from sunlight, like vitamin D or something. I think it's vitamin D.
When was the last time you ate a cucumber?
You mean like a full cucumber?
Full cucumber.
Not like in a salad or something?
Yeah, full cucumber. That's when it's most enriched.
Maybe never.
You need to get to a hospital immediately.
In my entire life, I wouldn't be surprised if I've never eaten a full cucumber.
Speaking of handing out vitamins, can you offer a Tic Tac or a piece of gum to a stranger
Yeah, but it depends on the situation.
in the elevator?
You don't just, yeah, in the elevator, sure. You don't just walk up to someone on the street and be like, here, have this Tic Tac.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Chase that.
here, I barely chewed it at all. Take this. But no, in the elevator, sure. I often do.
Me too, and people like it. It's always interesting.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what-
yeah, sure. Free gum.
Yeah.
Or Tic Tac.
It'd be funny if you just walked out into the elevator with a kind of a fist, and then you open it and like you say, "Would you like this Tic Tac?"
Yeah,
No.
see, that's a little tougher. But
That's what you would do.
what's also interesting in that vein is trying to offer food on the street is tough. If you have like a tray of brownies, you'll have a harder time with that than something that's in a package.
No kidding.
Yeah, but
More pearls of wisdom, please. food from a hand is
tell me
working
more
away.
about smelling yourself, Joe.
When you leave them, when you're sleeping in Band-Aid.
I'm gonna be haunted by that image.
Have you ever stopped in your tracks to witness a social interaction between two other people in the street? Because I've done that.
Probably, yeah.
Probably,
I
okay.
think so.
Like something that seems kind of fascinating, and you're on your way to somewhere, obviously, and you just kind of stop and watch.
Sure, you
Which is
know,
weird, by the way.
There are
It's-
occasions when everyone does it. If you see someone
No,
go
no,
down
no, no.
on one knee, everyone stops.
No. I'm not talking about something that's obvious to the average person. I'm talking about a social etiquette expert, someone who realizes the.
I have done that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have like lingered longer than I needed to in the lobby or something because I heard this couple saying something I thought was funny back and forth. Something along those lines, like this is how I secretly look at women while I'm with you, and I would linger to see the horrible reaction
So you're
that would
lingering.
come from that.
Yeah, I like to linger too.
Sometimes
I once stopped dead in my tracks on the
people are
street.
fascinating.
One time I saw, those guys in New York City, they're not homeless, but they're on the side of the street, and they look like they're a young adult in their early 20s, long blonde hair. Maybe they have even a skateboard with them, and they say, I have a sign that says, I need $25 to get home for the bus, whatever, blah, blah. They're kind of like,
I've had people ask me that before. I've never seen a sign for that one.
I've seen signs, yeah, they're kind of like these, I wouldn't say pseudo-homeless, but like stranded of sorts, but their parents clearly own houses and they're welcome at home, and they might even have college degrees, and they're just in this kind of weird thing where they're sitting. I've seen this in New York a lot, more and more.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Do
really.
you think that they're trying to buy drugs, or do you think they're?
I think it's
they're
half
just
and half.
running away?
Yeah, I think definitely there are some who need to get back on the bus. But, anyways, I once saw a chassid, a Hasidic guy, while walking by. Okay,
Is that a religious Jew?
very religious Jew.
Oh, okay.
With the hat
Gotcha.
and the.
Like the penguin-looking fellas.
He's a penguin, yeah,
I
with
gotcha.
the what are the things on the side called? The
Curls.
the curly hair on the side. The works, and he was gigantic also. That doesn't mean anything in
Really?
the story, but he just was
You know,
gigantic.
I always notice that. So if I see like a very religious, very gigantic person, very gigantic religious person.
Anyways,
Sticks
so
out.
I'm walking by this California kid, who looks like he's just skated in a park, and I see this gigantic Hasidic guy walking by, and I see at the corner of my eye that he stops to read the sign. So I stop because I have to witness this interaction between these two completely different cultures, which would never
Okay.
ever cross paths, just to see what would happen. So I'm watching, and of course, the first thing I do, I pull out my phone because I'm lingering right now on the street in Manhattan. It's a busy street.
Yeah.
I kind of saunter over to the side and I pretend to click away on my phone,
course.
but really I'm watching this fascinating interaction. And what happens is this Hasidic guy is stopping, reading the sign. Now, nobody stops and read the sign. Everyone kind of eyeballs it, and within a second you could read the entire sign, and either you give the guy a nickel or a quarter or a dollar, or
Yeah.
you walk. But this guy stopped and he's watching, and he's reading the sign, and he's looking at it, and then I see he looks at the kid, and then he's kind of like studying him, like he's debating whether to give him money. It was really great. And then he pulls it into his pocket, he puts his hand, he fishes out some coins, he looks at his hand, and he takes out what I believe to be a nickel and a few pennies. He drops in the guy's cup, and then he walks away. And the entire time, this kid from California, ostensibly, my guess, is just looking at this Hasidic guy, kind of with an open jaw a little bit, but like,
Yeah.
appreciative for the money. And then he sees that it's only a dime or a nickel, and just watching this whole thing
So
unfold.
he too is a spectator. You're saying.
He was a spectator.
Everyone's watching
within his own
the big
social
class
interaction.
scenes.
Yeah, it was. Those are the things that I like to do. I lingered with my cell phone, watching. There was no etiquette involved. I mean, the etiquette was basically the.
No, I understand what you're saying. I like the weird social interactions as well.
Yeah,
I linger.
you linger, and you're a sniffer too.
I'm not a sniffer. I think we've clarified for everyone who is the sniffer
I want to edit this
in
part
this
out.
combination.
I'm going to edit this part out. I'm going to say
This part or the part where you talked about your love of sniffing?
No, I only sniff Band-Aids. That's all.
You know what? You really did clarify. You asked me about sniffing Band-Aids, about sniffing fingers, about sniffing hands. you
Look,
really seem to be into
The
sniffing.
next Band-Aid that you have in your finger, you're going to sniff it. Believe me.
I'm going to bring it straight to you,
Oh. I'll sniff it for you.
apparently. Okay.
I think we're done here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you have anything that you want to plug?
Plug?
Yeah.
No.
Metaphorically
No,
plug.
I prefer to
Metaphorically.
keep my plugs.
That was a purely
No.
metaphorical word.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I got that.
No book, no movie.
Usually,
Usually, when they have a guest, they let them plug something.
that's fair. Okay. Yeah, I've got a movie coming out. Actually, it's out now, depending on where you're listening from. Jurassic Park in 3D. Yeah,
I don't get it. This is
I was the Stegosaurus. Spend your money. All right.
Is that the end of the joke? Because I don't want to stop you. If you have more of the joke, I'll let you continue. It's fine. I'll do some creative editing. I'll cut out the earlier parts, and I'll let you continue this really kind of forward-looking
Jeff
joke.
has walked away to go get another drink.
All right, well, I have something to plug.
Really?
We have,
Is it Joe Smalltalk?
It's actually a project of Ellie, the marketing and PR guy.
Oh, this is not your thing to plug.
No, it's actually in conjunction with Joe Smalltalk.
Did he pay you for the advertising?
No, it's a surprise actually, and I'm gonna have to end here in
10 cents a person, 60 cents for the ad.
It's another joke, I think we should just call this Jeff Smalltalk or Jeff Sniff Talk.
Or Jeff and Small Joe signing off.
Signing off.
All right.
Thank you for listening.
It's good to be here, Sloma. Thank you for
Good
having
to be
me.
here, and maybe we'll have a part 2 in the future.
Maybe.
Maybe. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
You don't have to laugh. Say have a good night. Confidence.
Have a good night.
Thank you.